live call-in show at 224-400-MARF. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
Where apocalypse roams, looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams. Marfoogle News, where are you?
All right.
Only news are you.
What is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. If you've never been here before, remember, go over to marfooglenews.com and sign up for our notifications. On top of that, you will find that we have a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we're going to show you here today. That way you can follow along on a second device. You can go back and reread, or you can go forward and read ahead. Again, when you go over to the website, you'll see that it is all easily navigatable by a thumbnail. You'll look for today's thumbnail. What? Distract and Escalate. We will click on this, and then you'll find that it brings you to a full bibliography. That means every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that you are going to see here, including our special guest tonight. Survival game will be popping in. So again, stick around for that. And then, of course, the lines will be open after we introduce my internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
So thank you, by the way, Bunny Ha. I believe I missed you last time. Thank you. Says there was a series called Salvation that was about a planet killer asteroid about to hit Earth, and the president, Darius Tanz, was an Elon Musk character. When you didn't actually say when that was made, I would love to see it. I'm guessing it was an older movie because I've pretty much seen all of the new ones. Either way, the lines will be open in just a second, so 224-400-MARF. If you are going to call in, make sure to call in early. Once you get in early, you'll have that slot. So remember that, but don't give up if the lines are busy. Just keep trying. Sometimes calls drop and people get in later in the show. So keep trying. Make sure to call 224-400-6273. Also, check out our Friends channel. Make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com and Friends tab. You'll see that all of our mods are there. Of course, all of our mods keep it peaceful and awesome down in the chat. They do a lot in the creator space as well. So make sure to go check out their channels, their books, their artworks, and everything else. And then, of course, our friends. These are all channels that we believe in and we would love to push up. So make sure to go check out those channels and subscribe. All right, behold the first images of DART's wild asteroid crash. It says on Tuesday, the Italian Space Agency released its first images from the tiny light Italian CubeSat for imaging for asteroids. It says the Lycia Cube spacecraft, which had reached Earth about 3 hours after NASA's double asteroid redirection test. Spacecraft successfully impacted the asteroid Dimorphos about 7 million miles or 11 million kilometers away from Earth. The images include a before and after comparison of Didymos asteroid system, as well as photos of bright debris surrounding Dimorphos. Both cameras aboard the Lycia Cube are represented. It says, we're really very proud, Elisabetta Dato, which, man, what a name. Elisabetta Dato, science team lead at Istituto Nazionale Astrofisica, pretty much the National Institute of Astrophysics, said during a news conference held in Italian on Tuesday. So these images are crucial to helping scientists understand the structure and composition of Dimorphos, Dotto explained. She said that, well, these photos are only the first couple to be released. The Lycia Cube images the team will be releasing over the coming days are also very promising. So this is... you would think. So I know a lot of people are, scratching their heads going, why can't we have anything in 4K or just anything in 1K or maybe a leg of the K? I don't know. This is pretty bad. Dex. So this is actually a picture of pretty much after, right? It's right after it hit, I guess. And you can see kind of Didymos in the front and then this in the back. So weird. It almost looks like all this dust has kind of just gone out like it's electricity or something. It's pretty funky to say the least. So, and it looks like we already, so the phones have already lit up. Thank you guys for calling in. Thank you everybody that is here already. Thank you for the people that have popped in. I appreciate you guys.
Hey, Adam.
So
that that image is pretty interesting to say that they captured something like that and it was that much of an explosion, huh?
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I don't understand it. I guess I don't understand if there's cameras out there, if there's all this stuff. What is it some sort of scientific reason why they can't have super high quality? I know it's going 17,000 miles, but the camera that took the pictures on it took every frame. But if something was outside of that or following along, or if they could have had something follow along, I would think if they spent this much money to hit it, you would think that they would send something else, just like Hayabusa. So some will say, oh, well, they can't catch up to it or they can't just float beside it. Hayabusa did that. The Japanese mission actually landed on an asteroid and then inserted explosives on it and then blew something up on the surface of it. Maybe that was because it was a much larger asteroid and maybe it was easier to land on. But I would just wonder why there's not like a solid, just regular camera that sees it go wham. I think that would help a lot with a lot of the debate around this subject. But it is pretty interesting, and to say the least, I think that there is something bigger around. I believe that they have seen an asteroid that will hit Earth, and I know that's a crazy opinion, but I do think that they know a whole lot more. And if they did find one, they're not going to tell us. They're going to leave us in the dark until the very last minute. Meanwhile, though, all of the richest people in the world are either building bunkers or they are buying rocket tickets off of Earth. So you can make your own decisions based on that. And then DART's impact won't make asteroid Dimorphos hit Earth, but here's what would happen if it did. It says that NASA's DART spacecraft didn't nudge its target asteroid toward Earth, but there might be other space rocks of a similar size on a collision course with our planet, and why DART's mission is so important. DART's smashed into the 525-foot wide asteroid moonlet Dimorphos as planned Monday evening, successfully demonstrating the kinetic impact strategy of planetary defense. Well, and they're saying successfully demonstrating. I guess hitting it is a success, but they still don't know if it's going to be off track or not. It says the dramatic impact sparked lots of speculation on the internet that NASA may have inadvertently sent an otherwise harmless space rock towards Earth. So I didn't see this, but a bunch of people messaged and said that DART actually hit this thing towards Earth. So I don't know if there's a creator out there, and again, not throwing shade at anybody that is saying this, but some people were under the notion that this was done to hit it towards Earth and that now it is accidentally going to hit us. I don't believe that's true, but again, I don't know where that's coming from. A lot of people on the internet have been talking, which means it's got to be true. It says that the dramatic impact, of course, spurred this speculation. Such speculation is groundless. Of course, mission team members have done the math, and they said that there's no way that DART's death dive could meaningfully change the orbit of Dimorphos and Didymos, the larger asteroid in the binary system around the sun. It says the only orbit that DART will measurably change is that of the moonlet Dimorphos around the 2,560 foot wide Didymos. In fact, the binary nature of the Didymos system serves like a security brake against an unwanted orbital alteration, according to scientists. It says we move the little guy, but the big guy is like an anchor. It's holding it back. Andy Chang, the chief scientist for planetary defense at Johns Hopkins University, said, and it said, which manages the DART mission for NASA. One thing that I don't understand, if you were going to test this on something, why did they test it on a pair? Just hypothetically say that Didymos and Dimorphos were actually heading towards us and they changed the data somehow. Would they do something like this and say it's some sort of drill or exercise or whatever? One thing that I want to point out is why wouldn't they pick a single asteroid? What are the odds that the next one, which is a planet killer, is going to have be attached to another asteroid and be spinning like this with it? That's one thing I don't get. Why would you do a scientific or a practice, scientific experiment or a practice on something that is very likely not going to happen again? That's what I don't get. If this is somehow gravitationally pulled along Didymos, then why wouldn't they choose a different target? Like Hayabusa, targeted the other one, and there was, of course, OSIRIS-REx, which targeted a different one as well. Why weren't they going after a single asteroid? What are the odds? The odds obviously are crazy high that we get hit by a big one during our lifetime, anyways. But what are the odds that we get hit by another pair? And why would they want to try to move that one off, especially if it's got this gravitational pull that's going to make it much harder to move or to put it off course? There are people out there, and I will tell you, there's a lot of people that have messaged me. They believe, they don't care what it says on the website, they believe that Didymos and Dimorphos are actually heading towards us, and that this was a real mission to set it off course from Earth. But I don't fully believe that. I don't think we would find out about the real one until it would hit us, because I believe there's too many amateur astronomers that would be able to put the brakes on that. What do you guys think? I would love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments down below. And thank you for everybody popping in. Lady L, Sherry Brown, Hood Science, SG94, thank you for subscribing. Kenny Crowder, Troy Bradshaw, Jerry Schertz, thank you for your support last show. I thank everybody for being patient with us after that short show. And then Dem Doggy TV, thank you for subscribing a minute ago. And then Steven Sellers, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you. So this is really weird, and you've probably heard about this already. I don't know if you noticed the alien that is now on the official Office of the Director of National Intelligence badge, or I guess they call it the logo, or the official branch logo. And under the NIM Aviation, you can see there's obviously several jets. There's a plane, some sort of stealth jet, and then some sort of, I guess, double-winged, double-tailed plane. And then in the lower left-hand corner, there is a UFO. It's like, is this all one big joke? Is the whole congressional thing, is this all just to distract us? I would love to go to the chat right now, because I would love to hear your feelings on why they ended up adding this. Is this a funny, like, highbrow joke in their eyes? Or is this because we are heading into different times? Will we have some sort of disclosure? I'm popping open the chat. It says The Bitter Critter. In fact, I'll pull it up on screen as well. Let's see here. Then pop this back open. Warren G says The Mockery. iPet Goat 2. Trippy stuff. Oh. In iPet Goat, didn't they have a saucer thing like that? Didn't the UFO in that? Wasn't there a UFO in iPet Goat 2? Let's see here. Now they got to pay aliens for the image. Yeah, exactly. They might shut down their channel under copyright. Fake alien, because we have alien spacecraft in Area 51, says stealth mode. So, but no, joke. So Michigan Lifestyle and anyone else, this is the official Office of the Director of National Intelligence logo that has come out. This is not a fake or a joke. It has a UFO in the lower left-hand corner. Woodlander says it's all distraction. Jen Boyle says an alien invasion is coming. And obviously 10 years ago, if you said that, most people would look at you like you're crazy. But now UFOs are being talked about in congressional hearings. Like, this is something that there are a ton of people that actually take very seriously. And what is happening right now is just absolute history. I mean, think about this. We have an actual branch of our military, the same military that's always denied the existence of UFOs, that has done everything to cover up and shut people down, the Men in Black style stuff, and now they're putting it on their freaking badges. This is a trip and a half. Let's see here. So it says a new official logo for the U.S. Intelligence Community Office focused on aerial threats and related security issues, particularly in the skies over the United States, is turning heads for its inclusion of a depiction of a flying saucer. This comes at a time when reinvigorated interest in the U.S. government, as well as the public at large, in unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, which are currently now referred to as unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAP. It said over the past year or so, U.S. military in particular has been increasingly sparring with members of Congress about how best to respond to the potentially very real threats that UAP present. The logo in question is the official seal for the National Intelligence Manager Aviation, or NIM-A, who resides along their staff within the Office of the National Director of Intelligence. This is not like, you know, something in charge of, like, you know, garbage disposal for the White House or something. This is alongside the Office of the National Director of Intelligence, which, again, intelligence. And then they're doing silly things like this. And mind you, if it's not silly, and if they are doing it for a purpose, if this is any kind of tell for the future, what are we about to find out? Or what are they about to tell us is happening? That's my question. It says General Daniel L. Simpson is the current NIM-A and is also the executive director for the National Air Intelligence Integration Office, which is another kind of secretive one that we've talked about, and assistant deputy chief of staff of Air Force for Intelligence. Dex, go ahead.
I was just going to make sure you get to the update, because it's even a little bit more mysterious, their excuse now. It's a little further down, but this article did have an update, so.
Yeah, they added it in afterwards, right? So let's see. Is it all the way at the bottom like a footnote?
Not at the very bottom, but maybe the last 5 paragraphs. But basically they came out and said, whoops. But how do you whoops something like that, right?
Yeah, this isn't like what is it called in Word?
Who makes the logo and just says we're going to put it out with a UFO on it and then say whoops?
They didn't actually say the word whoops, did they? Is that?
No, they said it was a mistake. How do you mistakenly put that on there?
Yeah, well, and that should be talked about in Congress. Did somebody hack this and do this and then put it out? Is somebody able to just get in there and add, what do they call those things in Microsoft Word? The word art or whatever? Isn't it word art? Before emojis, there was the you know, little pictures you could add into you know, like Excel. Clip art, that's right. And you had the little clip that used to pop up on your screen and it would slow down your computer. It says, in addition, for the unexplained reason, between September 5th and 25th and 26th, a trio of logos on the main website was changed. On the 25th, the seals for ODNI, the Office of Deputy Chief of Staff of the Air Force for ISR and Cyber, and NIM-A were present. The NIM-A logo was then swapped out for the NAI 201 or 201. So this is something is going on here. It seems like they may have been hacked. So Dex, on the update, do they say that it has changed back, or is it going to stay that way? It looks like that it's actually...
No. They said it was not supposed to be there. It was a mistake, and they put it back without it. But the real question I have is, what's the mystery here? Why would it ever been there to begin with? I don't even know that it was a hack as much as it was, something they were intentionally doing, and then maybe decided they didn't like the publicity from it.
Somebody said Hunter painted it in with his, what does he do? He does like snot rockets or something. That is pretty funny. Robert Lazar, is that the real Bob Lazar? I don't know if that's a question to me, but if you are asking, I'll seriously answer. If so, somebody asked, why are people calling you a fraud? So I think that people had a very big misunderstanding. By the way, this actually brings up a good point. On marfooglenews.com, there are 3 days left for the Cars for Heroes thing. What happened with the Cars for Heroes thing is that we did a fundraiser probably 3 years ago, and it was right after a Wounded Warrior fundraiser. The Wounded Warrior, we did 50% of the profit to Wounded Warriors through Teespring. And what happened is it didn't do very well. We did, I think, $53 worth of shirts. Might have been like one sweater and a t-shirt. And then we did one a little bit later than that on Cars for Heroes. Well, the Cars for Heroes one ran for quite a few months, and we put 100% of the proceeds towards that. Well, because we put 100% of the proceeds back when Teespring actually had charities that you could choose and you could pick, we had to manually type in Cars for Heroes. That money ended up basically just sitting there. And we had to prove, after somebody called Cars for Heroes and said, hey, where is this? We had to prove to Cars for Heroes that not only have we didn't have it and that we've never taken it, we had to prove that it was still at Teespring. So Teespring still had that. In fact, you guys raised $715 or $793, and it ended up accruing. It was a couple more sales, and it was like $800. We ended up donating $1,100 and chipped in as well to Cars for Heroes. After we showed Cars for Heroes what happened, and again, they could be very pissed off at us, and they could have gotten us for whatever if they wanted to. But after we showed them proof and said, hey, we have never taken possession of this, they said, not only are you cool, we ended up working with Cars for Hero again. We have now raised 15 cars. So 15 cars at least have been donated, and that was as of a couple weeks ago, for Cars for Heroes. And they have sold several of the raffle tickets for their raffle. So if you actually go to our website, in fact, I think it's on yesterday's show, you can see Terry, the founder of this charity, came on our show and squared everything away, let people know we're good. And not only that, the people that ended up doing all that had the mind to not only call him, somebody who has helped 27,000 plus vets and heroes. Now they're accusing him of taking like a payoff. So this is all stupid drama stuff. If you're involved in that, I really don't want you anywhere near my channel, because we've already squared that away and everybody knows what's going on. So I will put a link to that video where it was explained and Terry came on. But over the last month, we have now raised 15 cars that will go out. And in the future, we're going to be working with Terry to actually give one of those out, and hopefully to a Foogle fam member, so we can give a car out to somebody. But I did want to just get that out there, because if you see what actually happened, it is really screwed up that not only did they call Terry probably 15,000 times. Terry is a great person. He has helped so many, and he should not be anywhere involved in all of this stupid BS that's basically aimed towards me. So just want to let you guys know, we're all good with Cars for Heroes, and if you see that, please correct it and send them the link for the show. But again, you can actually help. There's 3 days left on that the raffle. You can actually win a 1966 custom truck. And that custom truck is actually, there's only 500 tickets. Each ticket is $100. So your chance, depending on how many tickets you buy, is basically 1 in 500. So if you go down, so down here, there's a link for it. You can go to carsforheroes.org, or you can go to marfooglenews.com/C4H. So
it's also on today's show page.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it there. Hold on.
It's just further down.
Okay. So when you go to our main page, you will actually see, because there's only 3 days left on this. So I did want to answer that. If somebody wants to pop up and say that stuff, they obviously did not watch the update. And that's a pretty serious accusation. Not only is it a serious accusation, but it's something that was already squashed. And I hope you guys can correct that in chat, especially when that does pop in. But if that is like Bob Lazar, that would be pretty cool either way when we're talking about all the alien stuff. And then the 2022 Forbes 400 list of the richest Americans, facts and figures. So again, I'd love for any of the replay watchers, please leave me a comment. What do you think about the whole thing popping up on their logo? Do you think they got hacked? Do you think that they purposely did that? Is that some sort of weird thing? Or do you think they purposely did it so everybody on the internet would go nuts? I believe that most people are that's going to start a conspiracy that is going to stick around for a while. All right. And then it says, after a roaring 2021, the 400 richest people in the U.S., along with many Americans, have been hit by rising inflation and falling markets. As a group, this year's Forbes 400 is $500 billion poorer than they were a year ago. Their total net worth stands at $4 trillion, down 11% from last year. The minimum net worth required to make the list also fell by $200 million and by $2.7 billion. It's the first time since the Great Recession that America's ultra-wealthy aren't richer than a year before. Forbes calculated net worths using stock prices from September 2nd, 2022. No one has been hit harder than American tech tycoons, who have lost a combined $315 billion as their stock prices have plummeted from the spigot of venture capital money has slowed. A total of 41 people fell from the ranks this year, including Yahoo's Jerry Yang, Rivian's RJ Scaringe, and thanks to the crypto winter, the Winklevoss twins. Meanwhile, Mark Zuckerberg, last year's number 3, fell out of the top 10 for the first time since 2014, which I predict he'll probably fall out even further. Meta, I know that there are some of you that are like hardcore Meta investors. I think that he will end up coming back because I do think that he is somehow ingrained in what the future is going to be with AR and VR. And I think that there's going to be a lull and Facebook is going to go in the garbage. First of all, if you don't know about Facebook, I would highly recommend looking up LifeLog. It was I want to say it was an NSA or CIA project that ended the day before Facebook started. And I'm not saying that they're exactly the same, but I would go read the description for LifeLog. And then I would read then just figure out what Facebook was. And then that started the day after it came out of nowhere, and it basically took over the world. Now, none of the kids now even want to be on Facebook. Well, I'm on that subject of Facebook and all of these people falling out. Obviously, the rich are getting richer in some aspects, but some of the people that kind of made their money during certain years, a lot of them are actually going down because now it is all out of balance, and there's all of these tycoons, and the richest people are most likely related to pharma. Just saying, the largest wealth transfer in the world that's ever happened in a short period, like in 6 months, but it was since 2019. In the U.S. alone, there was more money printed out of thin air based on debt. This is a crazy fact, and I know most of all of you guys know this, but there was more money printed since 2019 than has ever been printed combined ever in history. Think about that. That is really, really, really horrid to think about, especially when you realize that that's a debt-based money that was printed that really doesn't have anything backing it. And people still don't think that there's going to be a collapse. It's not like a conspiracy theory. It's more like it's a fact. that it can't go on forever without it all totally collapsing. So we'll, of course, we follow all of these kind of things. By the way, we've covered other stories that basically show that some of the richest folks in the world are preparing for something massive. Some of the top 5 that everybody knows and sees and follows on Twitter, they're all investing in rocket ships and things like this. Zuckerberg, of course, and Facebook, to get back to that, I think that a lot of people, it's going to be a sleeper. Meta, he changed it because everybody's going to hate Facebook. So they were trying to separate before it went down the toilet. But now kids are on TikTok. I wanted to point out that a ton of people are emailing me saying that they believe TikTok is going to invade all of our phones and that they're going to turn them off like in the movie Dragon Day. That has been popping up lately. So I don't know. I wonder if that's even possible. I wonder if they can invade other phones from phones. But if you've seen Dragon Day, then you're like, what the heck? The number 1 on Forbes 400 over the years, the 20 people at the very top of the list, the uppermost 5%, are worth a staggering $1.6 trillion, accounting for 40% of the entire Forbes 400 wealth. It says amid the upheaval, 42 people either joined or rejoined the ranks this year. The richest of the 20 newcomers is oil billionaire Autry Stevens, a West Texas wildcatter worth an estimated $10 billion, and he's one of the 19 on the list who made their money in energy, 15 of whom are richer than in 2021. A bright spot during the market downturn, given the surging oil prices over the past year. Other notable newcomers include Elon Musk, fanboy Leo Kagun, grocery wholesaler and AI robotics billionaire Rick Cohen, and Todd Boehly, who led a group that bought the Chelsea Soccer Club in May for $3.1 billion, and who was one of 50 sports owners on this year's list. First of all, I can't believe the Chelsea Soccer Club was $3.1 billion. That is so much money for us. I guess I don't watch soccer much. I know in Europe you guys watch it a whole lot more, but that is just an insane amount of money. I wonder, I don't even think, what is the most expensive, NFL team? Geez, that's just unbelievable. But a lot of people joined it, and a lot of people joined it since 2019, and it's all thrown out of whack. And I bet you some of those people that have been on that list for a very long time, I bet you those are old money, or half this group that is fighting each other, the elites versus elites. So that's pretty trippy. Dex, did you have a comment on the top 400? I know that.
Well, yeah, this and the next article, Zuck losing as much as he's lost is kind of a big deal for him, obviously, and it's a huge loss. I think the interesting thing is, we tend to look at these people as sort of the elites. I think there are probably people that are much more elite than they are. They're just not on these lists, so to speak, right? These are the public figures that make these lists. There's plenty of people behind the scenes that probably have access to a lot more capital than these folks do. As we were talking about Vlad the other night, potentially having much more than anyone really thinks he does comparative to these types of people. So, but we've watched ourselves go through some very difficult times, like the cough that we went through for the last 3 years, and we saw a lot of people make a lot of money during that time period. And here we are at this really strange event that's going on where technically they're all losing money too. So I don't know if that's how truthful this is. This is, again, coming from Forbes. So it is the sort of the rag that talks about these people. I mean, it's always their list that covers who the billionaires are. So I don't know, if this is just, is some form of rich people propaganda, or if it's really something that's really affecting them. I'm sure none of them are going and signing up for Snap at the moment, that's for sure. But I tend to believe that even during the worst of times, the elite don't do too bad and always seem to come out the other side stronger than they were going in. So
Well, I also don't think this is the real list. The real list is oil tycoons that don't have their money listed. I think that Putin is richer than Elon Musk, and they say Elon Musk is number one. So obviously the whole list, it's just the public billionaires. And yes, who said that? Said forgot the echo. Yes, the group bought the Chelsea Soccer Club in May for I only say it on the billion. 3.1 billion. Something's wrong with this echo. Billion. Bill. Hi, Bill. Billion. Yeah, that's good. All right, moving on. Mark Zuckerberg is no longer in one of the top 10, which we basically just talked about. But what is a trip? And this is what I think. I think that, and it's scary to think about that he is in with these top people. He may look like he's going to go down for a little bit, and maybe this might even make people falter and think that he's not, to invest in him or Meta or whatever else. After seeing what Meta has in the works, it absolutely terrifies me. The AR and everything that's going on, most people are like, "Oh, I'll never try that. I'll never do it." Just wait. If there's another CV instance like where you're stuck at home, people will be asking, they'll be begging for an AR headset, especially when they start integrating this. Walmart and other stores are already setting up for a virtual experience shopping. So you would go into a virtual store, you'll be sitting on your couch, you'll put on a headset, and you'll be walking through the store with your virtual reality controller, and it will feel like you're walking into an actual Walmart. At first, the graphics might not be perfect, but you'll see all of the real products that are actually on the shelves. You can go down the towel aisle and see 50 different designs of towels, and it will be a live representation of what the store has or what they can get you within an hour. And you'll be able to pick, and you'll be able to virtually grab those things, put them in your cart, and then once they're in your cart, you're immediately charged, and then it starts the process of them sending it to your home. So you think that this is a joke? They're already setting up for it. They're already setting up inventory systems. They've already done patents for these things, and they're setting up for an entire other world that we can't see. This is virtual real estate. So if you're walking down the street right now, if you walk down, say, the main street in whatever metropolis is near you. So you're walking downtown, and there's a teriyaki shop, there's a suit shop, there's a little fruit and vegetable place on the corner. You walk down that street, and of course, those are the places you see. But in AR, for somebody who walks down that same street, they might be in Google Explorer or whatever, they might be in Google Maps, they will see all of these ads pop up. And again, people will end up wearing these AR while walking around. They'll walk around, and on top of the teriyaki place, if the teriyaki place did not purchase their own rights for that property, somebody will be able to place over their actual sign, they will be able to place their advertisement for Coca-Cola or Sprite or whatever it may be. People are already buying up virtual land so they can virtually advertise. So if you can imagine right now, as you use GPS, you're using GPS on your phone, and you're putting it, most likely you're using your phone. Some people have GPS and they put it on their windshield. Well, think about this. You have just some regular clear glasses, and it gives you directions in a way that it's not actually distracting you or taking you away. You actually never have to, look away from the road at all. It's going to show you a highlighted route. So if you're on the freeway, it's going to glow. The exit that you're supposed to take, there will be no ifs about it. You'll know exactly where it is. It will highlight in green that route. You'll know that you need to get over it. It will give you turn by turn. It will be in your ear saying, do this, do that, do that. And everybody around you, it just looks like you're wearing glasses. This is something that people say, oh, I'll never use. But they're going to make it, and they already have these all in the works. So where you're not only going to want it, you're going to need it. It's going to be a necessity for you to participate in all this other stuff. So just watch. This will age well. And sadly, I know people that are developing for this stuff. I'm in the tech capital of the country, or essentially we're the little Silicon Valley here. There are a ton of people here talking about how they're designing this, and they're setting up the framework for it, and it's going to be the future. This is not going to be fun for anybody, except for the rich and the rich and the rich. I don't know. VR and all the games and stuff, it's just like how people are hooked on their phones. Think about this. They want that experience, and how people are this way. They want you also, wherever you look, they want you looking at advertising, and they want to target those advertising to you. And what's even trippier? So when you're walking that downtown street and there's ads and there's virtual billboards, just like in all the future movies, those ads will be targeted to you. And not only that, it will be targeted to where you are. You already see, if you drive past a McDonald's and say you went there last week, it's going to say, hey, you went to this McDonald's. Was it good? And it pops up on your phone. Well, now when you drive by that McDonald's, it says, do you want to stop here again? Just today, we're going to give you $2 off of your meal if you pull in right now. And then you pull in. But to anybody else, if they're walking on the street and they don't have these goggles, it'll be like they won't see any of this. This is what he has planned. And it's not even a theory, or it's not even like questionable. He has this stuff in the works. So for those that say, I don't care if they target my buying habits, and I don't care if they know what I buy and all this, you will when they start controlling you and you don't even know it. They're going to control every aspect of your life. It's pretty scary stuff. Before we talk about New Mexico District Attorney may charge Alec Baldwin, we covered quite a bit of that after he accidentally took the life of the director of art. But we'll talk about that here in a second. I do want to remind you guys, if you haven't already, all of our affiliates are products that we basically believe will either save your life or make your life a whole lot easier if something bad happens. Now, that doesn't have to be SHTF. It can be just a storm, or it could be an earthquake. It could be any number of disasters. This don't really have to do anything to really convince you to get something like a generator. Almost everybody wants a generator, but there is a reason to get solar. Solar is absolutely silent. Solar does not make any noise, so people 3 blocks away won't hear you. I think that's one of the biggest. But why to get this one is because it's not only one of the best, it has some of the best technology in it. Again, the lithium right now, the lithium ion in general is in high demand. So there's actually a waiting list for these. But this is a modular system, so you can expand it up to 96 batteries. So if you just want something portable to throw in the back of your truck or take to your cabin or take somewhere, you have that. But if you want something that's a more powerful and has 900 hours of power or 1,000 hours of power, whatever it may be, I don't know what 96 batteries would get you. 96,000 watt hours, I believe. If you want to do that, you can. But if you want a portable system, you can. And it has really cool mods that you can actually triple the input of what it's taking in. If you don't know much about solar, I would highly recommend doing some research. You'll see Energy is absolutely amazing. And if you go through us, not only are you helping our independent channel, but you're also getting a discount. There's discounts up to $170 off on certain packages. And they also have all sorts of other packages as well. They have the LT, the smaller one that's more for like a storm, that will keep all your devices and possibly run a TV or a small device for a few hours, or your phones for days. The LT is a smaller one. They also have the XT, which has the new lithium ion phosphate, I believe they call it, that lithium ion phosphate technology. This one can basically last for decades, if not 50 years, because they basically the battery, they can guarantee you 6,000 charge cycles, which basically from 100% to 0% for 16 years, using it every single day, it will still have 80% battery capacity, which is huge. That's insane. That's after 16 years of using it every day. Most people aren't going to use it. They're probably going to use it in storms or use it, for fun. But again, that's marfooglenews.com. The Kodiak X2 ships in December. Get in there as soon as you can if you want to get one of these. Again, we don't know what's going to happen with lithium in general. Countries are fighting over it. That's marfooglenews.com/energy. And thank you everybody that does go through any of our affiliates. It helps. All right. And then we're going to go over to the phones. Remember, you can call us at 2244-00-MARF. Again, that's 224400 MARF. Thank you, Chris G and Claire L. Thank you for supporting on PayPal. Davis D, Tracy Q, Linda S. Thank you, thank you, and thank you. Peter S, Linda P, Amanda B, and Brenda L. All right, and then Dex, I'm fixing the light here, so hopefully that will work. It looks like we have Anthony, a first-time caller, a veteran.
And I'm having technical issues. So
Okay, and
Sorry.
No, that's okay. You were also unplugged and the light was off, so okay. Well, I'll go over this and then we'll get Anthony back in. Actually, this would be a good time. So we're gonna play our special guest video, and then just to give you a preview of what's later, we're gonna talk about the Swedish seismic network, talking about picking up those explosions outside the pipelines. We're gonna talk about Vlad, of course, everything that's going on in Russia, and Xi and Vladian naval ships off Alaska together. Really freaky stuff. Let's well, you get them on the phone. I'm gonna play Survival Games Marfoogle TV Edition survival game.
Welcome to Survival Game, Marfoogle TV Edition. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Ilea, and this is...
Sorry about that, guys. Let me fix something real quick. I think we are running low on resources here, so hold on. And that. And rid of that. Okay, now let's... Sorry about that, Ilea. We'll start all over.
Welcome to Survival Game, Marfoogle TV Edition. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Ilea, and this is a trivia show that tests your knowledge of what to do in survival and emergency situations. Tonight's guest is you, the Marfoogle audience. You guys ready to play Survival Game? Me neither. Before we get started, I do have to do a disclaimer. Nothing in the show should be considered medical or professional advice. I assume no responsibilities for the accuracy of the information given on these game cards right here. Okay, let's get started. I am going to pick a card, any card. How do you eat animals after a nuclear explosion? A. Carefully skin them and avoid all meat that is close to the bone. B. Do not eat any animal unless they were protected in a shelter. C. Boil the animals, then remove the skin before eating them. What do you guys think? Maybe I should do a little countdown here. That's what I'll do. Put up a clock. It'll be like, dun, 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 dun. I'll give like 10 seconds. And then the answer. Then I'll answer. Okay. If you answered A, carefully skin them and avoid all meat that is close to the bone, then you answered correctly. And you know your stuff. I personally would have thought that I shouldn't eat any animal unless it was protected in a shelter. All right, let's move on to the next question. Okay, this is kind of a gross one. So if you guys have a sensitive stomach, how do you treat an open stomach wound? A. Do not let the victim eat or drink. Lightly cover the wound with a sterile dressing using a dampened cloth to cover any organs that have fallen outside the body cavity. B. Hydrate the victim to flush out the wound and securely wrap a truss-style bandage around the midsection. C. Lay the victim flat. Gently replace any organs that may have fallen out and wrap the wound in a clean cloth. I'll give you guys 10 seconds. Marfoogle News. where are you? Only news I use, Marfoogle News. Time's up. If you guessed A, you guessed correct. You do not let the victim eat or drink. Lightly cover the wound with a sterile dressing. Use a dampened cloth to cover any organs that may have fallen outside the body cavity. I like this one. What are the 6 P's of survival? A. Purposeful planning perfects pivotal packing programs. B.
That one. Definitely
Proper
that one.
prior preparation prevents poor performance. Or C. Positive prudent protocol perfects people's plans.
Good answer.
I'll give
good
you 10
answer.
seconds. Staring outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams. If you guessed B, you're correct. Proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. That's so fun to say. Thanks for playing Survival Game with me, you guys. I hope you had a good time. Toodles.
That was Ilea's survival game. She's also a mod here, and she is a creator. She does a show mostly on Saturday nights. If you want to go catch her show live, you can, of course, participate and support the Foogle fam. We all want to push each other up and support channels that are doing good and trying to spread information and trying to help people with whatever it may be. Now, Ilea has been running that game show, but I highly recommend following her other social media as well. She's actually really funny when she just lets it all go. So make sure to go check that out as well. All right, Dex, I'm going to switch back over. Do we have Anthony on the phone? Or should I just...
we do. Anthony
Okay.
is live.
Hello?
Anthony, you are live on Marfoogle News. What's going on?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. So, you are a veteran, is that right?
Yes, sir. I served 4 years in the Air Force.
Well, thank you for your service. All right, so go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Well, I just wanted to call in mostly just to say thank you to you guys for what you do. I think it's important getting the news out there that the mainstream doesn't always cover properly. So that was the main purpose of my phone. When you were talking about UFOs earlier, that made me think of something. So I've always had this theory that there's you know how it talks in the Bible about the Great Deception. I'm thinking that if the rapture occurs before the tribulation, the people in power are going to need a way to explain away people just disappearing. And what better way to do that than UFOs abducted them?
Oh, so when the rapture happens, all sorts of people will disappear, but they're going to say, oh, well, aliens abducted them. I've never heard that, actually.
Yep,
and
that's my theory on it.
that would actually make logical
Yeah, I haven't
sense.
heard it either.
Yeah, to cover up a rapture. But wouldn't that... So I doubt that any of the politicians will go anywhere, so I guess they'll all be around to
Right.
to cover it up. So
Well, somebody's going to be here, that's for sure.
let me ask you a question. So you've served in the Air Force and you are prior military. Again, thank you. What do you think?
Yep.
Do you think that we are close to something right now? Coming from a military background, what do you think is actually happening right now? Do you think it's all a big distraction, or do you think that there is something in the background that we are actually going to have some sort of conflict?
You know, I'm going to put this out there first. I don't have any inside information, so I don't know anything. But my thoughts are that we're getting close to something big.
Do you think it would
That's
be?
just my
Do you
opinion.
think it will be a conflict, or do you think it will be some sort of natural disaster?
It could be a lot of things. I foresee another world conflict in the future. I don't know how long it's going to be, but that's just my opinion.
Well, many people are with you on that. Well, again, it's your first time call. I hope it's not your last. Is there anything else that you wanted to say before you go?
Well, I'm also a Christian rapper, and I just recorded my first track. I think Dex is going to have that linked if anybody wants to check it out. And other than that, just wanted to say thank you guys again for everything that you do.
All right. Well, thank you again. And it looks like, there's some copyright beats, but we have the link to your video, and I'm pumped for it. So I would love to, of course, I'll check it out first, but I'd love to do stuff with, any one of you guys, especially if you want to get together and make horrible music with me. I make horrible music. I don't know about you yet, so I'll go check it out. Well, thank you.
You make some catchy beats if those are yours.
Yeah, everything is done, but it's probably 1 out of 20, and you probably know some are good, some aren't.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for calling in.
Yeah, well, thank you again,
Anthony. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, thank you. Bye. That was Anthony calling from Iowa, former military. And thank you, Anthony. Great call. And it's your first time call. Don't make it your last. All right. And then Dex here in a second. So first of all, Alec Baldwin, the whole scenario happened. He essentially was handed a loaded gun, and he ended up taking out the director of photography, I believe. And now the New Mexico State District Attorney could file criminal charges against 4 people, including the actor Alec Baldwin, for the fatal bang bang on the movie set of Rust. In a recent letter to the state's finance board, Santa Fe District Attorney Mary Carmack Altwies said as many as 4 people could face criminal charges in connection with the accident last year that claimed the life of cinematographer Helena Hutchins and injured the director Joel Souza, which is crazy because I guess the Joel Souza was behind the lady. The bullet actually went through her, and it actually went into him as well, and I believe it stayed in him. It said the district attorney said that her office is considering charges including homicide as well as bang bang violations. It says one of the possible defendants is well-known movie actor Alec Baldwin. The district attorney wrote in a letter dated to August 30th. So what do you guys think about this? So if he is an actor, there's supposed to be people in charge of this, and he has a bang bang handed to him. If you're in a movie, personally, I think I don't get why they even use. I get why they use real-looking weapons, but with technology today, can't they make a real-looking prop that looks and does everything without actually having, bang, especially with CGI and what they do with it and the stupid things that they add in CGI. Why wouldn't they have, a green screen thing at this point? Especially on a big budget film, I don't know. I get the point of having a real bang bang with a blank, I guess, but still, it's like, if he's being handed it to it, do you think it is his fault? Do you think he should have done a test shot into the roof first? Do you think he should get homicide charges, or do you think he should be let off? Do you also think that the woman who really did screw up, which they've made her out, I don't just believe everything without seeing it, but if you hear from some of her neighbors and the people that spoke out, it sounds like she was a young 20-something that partied every day. Their house was up until 4 a.m. She would, come in by the hair of the dog or whatever, drunk to work. And that's how they made her sound. As far as what she was like in real life, the reason why she got that gig and why she got almost all of her gigs is because she was the daughter of one of the most famous and well-renowned armorer, the position that basically takes care of all the weapons. And she was basically a legacy. Her dad trained her to do all of it. So she learned from the absolute best in the whole thing. How did she make a stupid mistake like this? Who do you think should have the charges? I'll do a quick poll. Let's see. Do you think Alec Baldwin should be charged? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no in the chat. I'd love to hear everybody's opinion on this. Some people have Alec Baldwin's back because they believe he shouldn't. Some people don't because they think he's Hollywood. Let's see here. Wow. A lot of people say yes, he should be charged. I don't know if you guys, pretty much both platforms say he should be charged. Man. Well, think about if he has a jury. That's not good. Most people are going to say he's going to get charged. B-Roll Beast says, I'm expecting a child, so any prayers from the fam for a healthy pregnancy would help. God bless. Thanks. I'm praying for you, B-Real. And do you know what you're going to have yet? That's a big, huge thing. Is this your first kid, B-Real Beast? Again, it's a huge, life-changing thing. Sophie Love, thank you. Bunny Ha, again, thank you. Lady L, Sherry, thank you for just subscribing. And then Sindel, thank you for subscribing as well. I appreciate that. All right, and then Dex, can you go over the robotic tortilla chip and then actually the next one? I've got to change a battery here, otherwise we're gonna lose video. Let's see here. Let's go back to this. And Dex, just to let you know, we're on Chipotle Mexican Grill. We'll test robotic tortilla chip.
Hello, Adam. Yes, it looks like Chipotle is yet the next one in line for robot distribution. It seems like everywhere we turn, we've heard of burger flippers, fry cookers, all of these different positions being, taken away with a robot. So in this case, they are testing Chippy, which is an autonomous kitchen assistant made by Miso Robotics next month in California. I think it's the Fountain Valley location. They've already been testing Chippy's ability to make its seasoned tortillas, but now they're taking it, I guess, to the next step. And I'm guessing it won't be long before we see this in all of the Chipotles. I know many people have probably seen the robot waiters that are delivering food to the tables. I've been to a couple of restaurants that have done that. I've seen one that they had, I guess, some fancy shakes was on their menu, so they thought it was cool to use the robot to deliver the shakes. We've seen lots of other things in the robotic area, especially in behind the scenes. It's been ongoing for a long time in the automotive and a lot of other manufacturing, just to help the assembly lines and help things get improve the quality and as well as the output. But the flip side is this takes away jobs from people. And what does that mean to you? What does that mean to our future? And, how much longer will we actually need to actually work? And will the day come when robots are doing everything? They've always said, hey, everyone that, can't find a job should go learn how to write code and become a software developer, because the world is now full of tech, and that's what we need more of. And in some regards, they're right, but in other regards, that doesn't really make a lot of sense, because people have all these skills that they've, spent a lifetime creating, and maybe it's not creating tortillas as the skill that you've developed over your lifetime, but there are certainly other skills that people have developed that robots have been taking away, or computer systems and futuristic things like artificial intelligence are starting to do it better. That's sort of the scary picture of the future. We always go back to that movie. I think it was WALL-E, where everybody just sat around and did nothing because the world was just taken care of by all of the electronics. There was nothing to really do but just sit around and own nothing and be happy. I think, didn't somebody say that before?
Yeah, it's funny. They actually said that in the show. Now, I do want to go over to this because you have family that are being affected by this right now. Hurricane Ian has Florida residents rushing to complete last-minute preparations. Do you know anybody that is in that danger zone? I know that we threw out prayers for Jay.
Yeah, we know lots of Foogle fam, as well as my own family in different areas across Florida. Everyone I've talked to so far has been able to get, has heeded the warnings because they know what they're doing, and they've lived in Florida and they understand the importance of being prepared. It's not an easy thing. It's always a hectic thing, but if you, know what you're doing, you just, you go with the flow, you get your stuff packed, you pick up the projectiles laying across your yard, like, lawn chairs and other things that are easily, turn into flying objects. And you do that to help, reduce the amount of destruction that happens, and then you get the heck out of Dodge, so to speak, if you're in the path or if you're in an area or you don't have the means to, shelter where you are if it's unsafe to shelter. So a lot of people have been doing that as I predicted, and as we're seeing, and we were even reported by other Foogle fan members, there's so many transplants that have moved into that location, especially in that Tampa area, and then obviously throughout all of Florida. So it's these new people, I think, that are probably going to have the hardest time because they are not prepared. They haven't done this before. They probably never lived through a hurricane or even been threatened by one. So that's probably where we're going to see the biggest problem right now. I know that we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5 million people are being evacuated. That's a pretty staggering number, or live in the zones that are being evacuated. The information keeps updating. It looks like the last time I looked at it, it was going to possibly go not straight across, but across the state, maybe like south of Tampa, going up through Orlando, popping out on the other side, north of or near Jacksonville, I'm thinking somewhere in that area, and then potentially heading back up into South Carolina or Georgia. Of course, that all changes. We'll keep monitoring it. We'll probably have another update on it tomorrow. It should be hitting Florida soon. If not, I think it's tomorrow. I don't know what the latest speed is on the storm, but yeah, this is going to be pretty big. It's going to hit as a catastrophic, which is a level 3 or higher. We'll see how long it lasts as it goes across the state. It should probably drop down by the time it reaches the other side of the state to what would be called a tropical storm, which is less than 70 something miles per hour. But it's still a significant amount of winds. So everybody there, hopefully you're bunkered down now and in a safe place.
There's always going to be those people that didn't, though. And I'm hoping that they're going to survive through whatever it might end up being. People had warning. People had plenty of stuff going on there. The picture shows people trying to get sand into sandbags. It's kind of what I was mentioning the other day. Obviously, a lot of people are trying to put sandbags around their properties. In some of the places where they are predicting, 10-foot storm surges, just imagine a 10-foot wave, or if your house, your average roof or ceiling on a first floor is, 9 feet or 10 feet. You're talking about the first floor of houses in that area being underwater. Especially the one-story buildings, that people have to get up on their roofs if that happens. So not fun. I'm praying for all of you out there, and I really have, I see a lot of people say that they'll pray for things, and then they don't actually do it. I've been praying the last couple of days because we know that we have Foogle family there. We have, of course, we knew Jay was in that kind of danger zone, one of our mods. So I am praying that everybody gets out safe. And I hope you guys do too. Or send positive vibes, or if you're not a prayer, then whatever vibes you can send. China's Xi reappears on state TV amid rumors over absence. So I'm actually surprised that this got covered mainstream because the rumors were flying around the internet that essentially he got replaced, that somebody replaced him. Now, I don't know where that originally come from, but right before that, there was this whole thing with September 24th because of a German politician saying, every person will remember where they are, on September 24th. If you saw the entire video or even 5 minutes more of that video in context, it was a misspeak, and they were saying February 24th, and they're talking about the start of the invasion of UKR. Once seen in context, there's like no question about it. But a lot of people asked to the point where they actually apparently did some sort of article and asked him directly, and he of course said it was a misspeak. But my point was that game of telephone turned into 50 different things on YouTube and all over the place. On the 24th, we did have some pretty crazy stuff happen. Obviously, though, it was not, a September 2001 type thing. This happened like right afterwards. So I don't know where some of these things like get out of control, but I will say this. This hurts all of us as a whole. if something crazy like, say, that 24 thing went too far, or this thing where Xi is replaced and they just start making crazy videos and everybody starts doing it, that's when YouTube and other platforms, that's when they start cracking down and getting rid of people, and they have an excuse to do so. I've been through 3 adpocalypses where they essentially will just get rid of people for anything related to the subject at hand. Obviously, you can see where AJ is because of that whole thing that happened with him. But it seems like there's these events that happen that almost they put it in some sort of frame, so then people grab it, take it, run with it, and then end up making everybody, not look so smart. So be careful. That's why we always try to make sure to confirm on something, and that's why we try to stay away from the dates as well. It said that Xi Jinping reappeared on state television Tuesday after a several-day absence from public view that sparked rumors about the 69-year-old leader's political fortunes. Now, by the way, he was out of the public eye for like 4 days, I think. Look at our prez. Our prez, we can go like 3 weeks without actually seeing him. Our previous president even, almost all of our presidents, we can go super long without seeing them, especially when they're at Camp David. It says Xi was shown visiting a display at the Beijing Exhibition Hall on the theme of forging ahead into the new era. This is just a couple, week or week and a half after all of the stuff happened with Vlad. They met in person. They said that they are no limits partners. Vlad is going to help with Taiwan. Xi is going to help with UKR. That's what most people assume happened. So it is just an update on kind of more of the stuff that was floating around. And thank you. Hail to the King says, will DART fail? War will distract us until Revelation 8:7-11. One asteroid will hit the land, another will hit the ocean. That is in the Bible. And then Candy Hooten, Vladian and Xi warships off the coast of Alaska. Candy, we will actually be covering that. That is in tonight's show. In fact, we have that right here. So we'll be talking about that here in a minute. And then Be Real Beast, again, thank you. Linda C., thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you, and thank you for sticking with us. Littrell Group LLC, 15 days after trumpets, not tabernacles, I detest. And then also said, tonight the first sliver of the moon showed its best. Feast of Trumpets is in progress. What is the purpose of this test? The rapture is coming in 15 days or less. Fall feasts end 15 days after tabernacles. Tribulation starts September 28th. Guess? I don't know. And I don't know about, there's been so many dates that have been thrown around in the last 2 months that I don't know. But that's why I try to stay away from all of the date stuff. But Littrell, thank you for your support, and I appreciate that. And then Kenny Crowder, thank you, that Gen X dude, and everybody else that popped in last. All right. And let's see here. Before we move on, we're going to talk about the latest that's going on and actually the pipeline sabotage incident. I do want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. If you have been worried about an EMP event, there is a pretty simple way to actually defend your cars, your house, pretty much anything that you have that you want to protect. EMP Shield makes a device for. If you go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP, you can get a device that can be easily be wired into your home, to your cars, your RVs, your boats, your motorcycles, even your generators, and even your energy generator. They make one specifically for the energy to protect it. And what it does is it grounds the signal in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it can fry your device. That means that your car will still drive, your home, everything plugged in within a certain distance will protect it. And of course, in your cars and motorcycles, they'll still go. If you want to keep things that go going, then I would highly recommend this. This will, if any of these happen, which again, EMP is less likely than the guaranteed CME. We will have a CME. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of when, not if, and if our countries will be prepared by the time it happens. Go to marfugglenews.com/EMP and make sure to do so because you'll get $50 off per device. So if you want to outfit all of your cars and trucks, you'll get $50 off per device. That's marfugglenews.com/EMP. Again, if you do it now rather than later, you'll be prepared instead of scared. All right, and then let's go to our next caller. It looks like we have, let's see here. Dex, I'm actually going to have you introduce this caller. And let's see here. Hopefully if we're...
And Adam, we have Joseph Newhouse live on the line.
All right, Joseph Newhouse, you're live on Marfoogle News.
Hey, Adam. Hey, Marfoogle. So I saw this tweet from Elon Musk, and he posted this picture. I don't know if you have the video up I sent right at the beginning at like 1 or 2 seconds. You can see this picture of Mario and Peach sitting on the castle, and the quote he put, or that is there, says, "Of course, there's no way to prove we're living in a simulation." And so I thought that was, pretty average comment from Elon, but I, wanted to take a look at some older symbolism from Mario because he did this Princess Peach thing. And so I wanted to look at Super Smash Brothers and then Mario 64 from Nintendo. And basically on the Super Smash Brothers, the Fox level, it's like you're in space and it's called Sector Z, and there's this big Z in the sky. And I think that symbolically relates to like the third dimension. Like with a coordinate axis, you have the X and the Y, and then the Z would be like a third dimension. And then I also included this with from Mario 64, and it's in the castle, Princess Peach's castle, and you have to go around. The goal of the game is to collect all these stars to save the princess. And so, this is like, I'm gathering possible hints from Elon. And so basically when you, at the front of the castle, the entryway, there's this big symbol in the middle of the checkerboard floor, black and white, with, it's like, a solar symbol or relating to like the Mazzaroth, as it's called in scripture, or like the zodiac commonly. And so I kind of think that Elon is trying to hit something about the aurora and how, I'm not saying this is a matrix simulation, but, there's certain aspects of things that are kind of like that. And yeah, it's got some copyrighted music, but I added a clip at the end, a few clips. It's just kind of a fun video after that. But yeah, really, I mean, why else would he say something like that?
Well, saying that, first of all, Elon's a big proponent, if people don't know, of, he's said it a bunch of times saying, how do you know that we're not in a simulation? When you go down that rabbit hole, it's actually kind of freaky because there's a lot of stuff that will trip you out if you do end up going down it. But why the Mario thing? Why is he saying that we're Mario, that we're being controlled? Or do you think that's part of it?
Well, I think like that's like the whole thing. Like it's like a theme, and so the Mario, the whole thing is like you go through this whole castle, and so you could imagine the castle or like the whole property is like symbolic of the Matrix in Elon's mind, of course. And you have to collect all these stars, and that's the main thing of the castle, is catching all the stars or finding all the stars. And so, and all this other stuff he talks about, I think that he's saying something about the aurora. And yeah, I added this clip at the end, but it's just for fun.
Well, or yeah, filler content as far as video, keep people engaged.
Right.
Elon, a lot of people, some people look at him like the anti-hero or something, or some people literally worship Elon. I know that, there's a lot of people who like him a lot. I don't worship the guy. In fact, I have questioned many times, and every time I do question Elon's motives, I get emails saying, you don't know Elon, and these are people that don't know Elon as well. They're saying, you can't judge, and I can't. But what I can say is that he's connected to the government in every which way. Starlink, SpaceX, Neuralink is doing military stuff. Tesla is doing, grid stuff and backing up grids. Boring Company is doing tunnels for cities. So you have to wonder if there's something else going on, or if there's something there. Jacob Israel.
Right.
Have you that Jacob thinks that? Well, not even thinks. I'm not saying that Jacob is saying that Elon watches, but I did watch when Elon Musk was tweeting all this stuff around Jacob's videos. And as you guys know, Jacob Israel's a good friend of ours and a channel on our friend's channel. It looked like he was responding to Jacob. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. And it's funny you say that, because I didn't send it to Dex, but I made another video with a similar title, and it's kind of is Jacob suggesting Matrix simulation? Just kind of poking at what he was saying in one of his videos. But
well, what if he's watching it?
I don't know.
It's kind of scary, like thinking about the richest man in the world. If you talk trash about him, he could I'm sure he has some easy button for taking people out. I think all rich people have one of those Staples buttons, and they're like, where's my hitman? Ding, ding. And they pull him in, and they say, oh, this guy has been saying I'm a jerk on Twitter. I don't know. By the way, Elon,
Elon posts these.
I don't have any
these League of Legends memes too, from this game that I have here. But yeah.
Well,
he's saying something.
Again, thank you for sharing your video with us, and it looks like you put a lot of effort into it, so thank you again. And it's a trippy concept. Did you see that Elon posted that new asteroid hitting Earth tweet? Did you watch a couple nights ago when I talked about that?
Yeah, I saw. And he was just posting about some new cologne to make you smell like burnt hair.
Yeah.
He said it's from Singed, and that's, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll show people what you're talking about. And then he posted Will Smith as NASA and Chris Rock as Dimorphos, which I'm surprised that he doesn't have people protesting that.
Oh, I saw that one. Yeah.
I'm surprised people aren't protesting that it's, something about their color or something. And then burnt hair, repugnant desire. So what do you guys think the symbolism behind this is? And I know
is he actually making that? He kind of said he is.
Well, he made the whistle. So when there was the whistleblower, the whole thing, the whistleblower on Twitter,
right,
he actually made a Tesla whistle, and they sold out. And he actually sold it. He had them produced in his factory. They're metal steel whistles, and apparently they actually work. And he was serious. He tweeted, and he says, oh, by the way, we're working on making the whistles louder. And it was metaphorical. What a crazy, eccentric dude that he makes a whistle out of a meme, out of a joke, and then even makes it better, and it sells out, twice or whatever. And now he's making a possible cologne called burnt hair, which burnt hair smell. You know what's? Hey, have you thought about this? What does burnt hair smell like? It smells like flesh.
Ugh.
That's kind of scary.
I don't know.
That's kind of scary. Well, thank you for coming on, Joseph. And again, yeah, this is make hair on fire, not just a metaphor. I guess this joke is a slow burn, burnt hair sent for men by Singed. I don't get it. He thinks all of his jokes are funny though. That's for sure. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm too lowbrow. All right. Well, thank you again, Joseph, and I appreciate you calling. And make sure to go check out Joseph
Thanks,
over
Adam.
on the website. Yep, no problem. Joseph Newhouse, his channel will be over on the Friends channel as well. You can find it under here, or you can also find it on the website for tonight's show. Once you click on tonight's show, it will bring you to the whole selection, which, by the way, I'm on news. Once you go to TV, click here, boom, and then you have the links, and then down below will be all the caller info. Dex, I guess we're going to speed through some of this. Do you want to go over the pipeline stuff, since I already went over it in the Marfoogle News? If you want my opinion on these two stories, you can go over to Marfoogle News and watch that and share that out. We should probably get your opinion on this.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards. I said this last night too, that when we first reported on it, as the news was sort of breaking, that it doesn't make much sense for Vlad to have done this, right? Like this, they're reporting that the leaks were sabotage or attacks. Somebody did it. It's underwater and it's bubbling up. And these pipelines are closed. Like they shut them down. He shut them down, I should say. They weren't operational, but it doesn't mean that they weren't under pressure, right? Let's clarify that. I think that they probably, even though they may not be pumping, they may maintain some sort of pressure in them so that they can tell if they have problems. And plus, they're underwater in certain areas, so they probably maintain pressure in them just to help keep it stabilized. But nonetheless, there was something that happened, and there's reports that they were losing pressure in these lines, and they think that they've been damaged, and that they've been damaged in a way that was done nefariously. I don't know what he gains from that, because he turned it off, and he could use any excuse he wants to keep it off for as long as he wants, including I've got equipment problems on the back end, which is what he has said in the past. And reasons he has given. So the question I sort of ask is, who is the person, or who would be responsible for this if it truly is that? Now, according to the Swedes, they came out and said there was seismic activity in that general area during the time that the leaks were detected. Now, could that be seismic in the sense that they were able to measure an explosion, or is it just literally seismic activity in the sense that maybe there was, an underwater earthquake or something in that area, and maybe that shaking was enough to cause the damage? A lot of people think that the West could be involved. This could be part of a setup. This could be part of, the turmoil of the beginning of conflict. There's always things like that happen. Sometimes they're legit. Sometimes they're organic, not usually, and sometimes they're created on either side to draw people in, or to get emotions, gather support, put it into the Ganda category, as well as put it into the evidence category as to why an escalation or something else needs to happen. Quite possible that's the case here. We don't know. We won't know probably, but it is important to pay attention to this, and we'll see. Some people are saying, hey, no, this is a natural event. Don't worry about it. It was, it was accidental. Some are saying, no, this is definitely, sabotage. And now everybody's pointing the finger in one direction or another.
Well, Kent Hurt said that, what if it was damaged by earthquakes? Like, what if it was just legitimately earthquakes that screwed it up? Murphy's Law says, I don't believe in coincidences in wars especially. Yeah, most all of them have had an event that have kicked them off. And the events that have actually kicked them off have had suspicion or rumors or stories behind them. Even in the case of WW2, when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, there's some weird stuff there. Most people don't scratch the surface. They don't go in deep to why was everything the way it was. Why they did so many weird things for Pearl Harbor. And then
And real quick, one more point. We as in the West, and I'm pretty sure Vlad did as well, but we certainly had drills in the Baltics. We've done drills there in most, probably the last 3 months, maybe even the last month. So if anything were to have been done in advance, there's certainly reason or explanation to think that we've been there. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's how we would have done it or how someone else would have done it, because they could have just done it like yesterday or 2 days ago, right? It wasn't like it had to be planned in advance, but it could have been.
Holy Bagman and Tristan Green, I don't know, probably stress. People are saying your vibe has shifted this month. Probably stress. I've got 4 kids and 3 kids under 7, so it's not fun. Right now I haven't been sleeping much, so just to put on this show is kind of a huge ordeal, and it is 5 days a week. So yeah. But other than that, I mean, we're going through crazy stuff in the world. Like, we have to cover all of the craziest stuff that's out there every single night. It's you just trying to be consistent, I guess. But yeah. But also, what's funny is people say that every time I get a haircut. Swedish seismic network registers the blast. Of course, the earthquakes that went off. They say there's blasts. I think it's suspicious. You can watch my opinion over on Marfoogle News. Please share that out. I wounned be surprised if they said if there was a theory started that it's not actually me. I'll paint on a birthmark or something, and they'll be like, no, the original Marf didn't have a birthmark. Patrol spots Chinese and Russian naval ships off Alaska. We warned you about this, and we have been calling this. Alaska, since they moved the artillery up there like a year and a half ago, we showed you all of the different stuff that they were moving up there, the deployments. Right before this, I told you, Foogle fam members said that they were doing these unusual deployments out to Alaska. And now look, it seems like it's really picking up not only in the Arctic, but in Alaska. In Alaska is going to be a really, really hot, big hot point if anything really does go down with Xi and Vlad. But also I want to point out that off of the coast of Hawaii, they have Russian ships. We had Justin True, who's been a Foogle fan member for like 4 or 5 years. He was out with his family, and they were one of the first people to spot the Vladian research ship. And that research ship was actually it was doing some sort of surveillance. And that's really, really freaky, because that also happened right before when Japan attacked us. In fact, Japan had spies on the island. In fact, one in particular it's really famous, that was going all around the island. He even would swim around the boats and in the Pearl Harbor with like a scuba diving one of those things, the snorkel. And he would snorkel around the ships, and he would write down where all of them were. He kept track of when they moved them, when they'd put them back for the best time to attack. So if they were going to, say, do a Pearl Harbor 2.0, then they would want to do surveillance. Maybe that ship off the coast was communicating with some sort of civilian that had some shortwave radio, or they're communicating or something. I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but if you look at what's happening. You've got surveillance ships off of Alaska. You've got surveillance ships and weird ships off of Alaska. It said, of course, patrol boats, U.S. Coast Guard ship on routine patrol in the Bering Sea came across a guided missile, and it's a guided missile cruiser from China, officials say Monday. But it turned out that the cruiser wasn't alone, as it sailed about 86 miles north of Alaska's Kiska Island on September 19th. It said the patrol boat, known as the cutter, called Kimball, later discovered that there were 2 other Xi naval ships and 4 Vladian naval vessels, including a destroyer, all in a single formation. But there was no news of this? So just yesterday, I talked to you about the barge. We talked about what that could be. That barge has radar equipment. Dex, could you get me a picture of the radar equipment, the barge with all the stuff on it? So I'm gonna pull up this picture of this barge, and we debated what it would be for. Is this barge to hide stuff like a fog of war type thing? Let's see. Let me. Oh shoot. Okay, hold on. Let's see. All right, so.
It's in screener.
Oh, I'm grabbing it. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, so check out this barge. And there's supposedly at least a few more sightings of others. And I did ask if there were Foogle fam members this was or could guess based on the technology they visually see. I would love to hear it. I did not have time yesterday because I had so much stuff going on to check last night's comments, but I really hope to see somebody who can really explain what they think this is based on a really solid logic. So this barge obviously has a ton of, radio equipment of some sort, and it's mobile. What could this be for? Is this to detect things, or is this to shroud things? I personally see this as like a fog of war type thing. Like if they had 30 or 40 ships, maybe this would throw off the signals from them or something. I don't know. Maybe this would allow them to keep their transponders or whatever on. Or could it actually take the signal from a ship and then ping it somewhere else to make it look like they're not somewhere where they are? I don't know. Look at the equipment and look at carefully. There's all these triangle kind of dishes. There's half round circle dishes. There's like a weird net around it, I'm assuming, so birds don't fly through. Maybe. I guess, what do you think? Does the net, is that net a Faraday cage type thing? Is that like a steel net that would protect it from EMP? There's a lot of questions in my head. This thing is massive. Go ahead.
I think Jammer was telling me that netting can be used to pick up radio waves from a long distance, like a variation of an antenna. But that's just one potential explanation. There's many.
Jen said it's maybe a multiple purpose station, possibly for hire. Well, I don't know. It's G's Navy that is with it. And if there's more of these, and if this is possibly to hide their ships, think about it. Yesterday, this was out. And then today, we have not only Vlad's ships, but G's ships together in formation, in one formation, right off of Alaska. People have been calling this fear-mongering for years. And I think it's around the assumption that people are trying to scare you to, get money out of you or to get views or to get this. Because it's not only ourselves, it's a bunch of other channels that I know that on and off camera, they deal with that. This is what we think. I take everybody's opinion here solid. I keep an open mind. I find it hard for people not to see what's lining up. And I understand why people are so back and forth about it, because they can't believe media. They can't believe anything right now because we've been lied to so much. And there are so many contradicting conspiracies out there that you don't know which one to really believe in. And it's almost like every last one has a step or is like biting the other one in the butt, and it's a big circle and they all somehow cancel out the other. I guess that's the best way I can put it. Like, there's all these different theories around. I think war is real, but the motivations behind it or the people behind it, they'll probably be sitting in some room somewhere. Go ahead, Dex.
Hey, there's another image I grabbed of a famous place that gets talked about that we don't normally say the name of, but it might be interesting to look at it and sort of compare and contrast. There's not netting, but there certainly is a lot of wires around it. Yeah,
so this picture may suggest that it's a HAARP type system. So that well could be. This could. Oh. Well, I don't know. I think it would be bigger. I think it would be much bigger. Okay, so this is what HAARP looks like. I don't think that I don't know. Are these? So, which some theorize that this is used to control, start something. Imagine this. What if that barge could trigger some sort of seismic activity? What if they took that barge out by Cascadia subduction zone? If it was able to do that, just hypothetically. But this thing is pretty nuts, and I believe that it looks like there's some sort of net there, but I always thought that these were weird. These are so big and there's so many of them that they say that this can bounce stuff off of the atmosphere and even possibly start things, weather phenomenon and other things. I personally believe this is a real capability, and I know that they even signed an agreement back in the late 70s or early 80s saying that they would not purposefully cause earthquakes, hurricanes, any kind of weather things, because they had the science to start all of those things, but they didn't have the science to be able to stop it. So they considered it like a weapon of mass destruction. So they many countries, including Vlad and G and the U.S., all agreed, hey, we won't do this. But yet I bet all of them have it ready to go, if not already being used. See, conflict won't be a cover-up for Rapture, but if Putin needs energy, he will attack Israel from theirs. Gog and Magog conflict. Ezekiel 38, says Becky Williams. Memphis Belle. Just Ruth. Charlie 64 is here. Paris. Nana Deborah, they're doing it. Survival game, what's going on? Murphy's Law, frequency, can do that stuff. They lay the trails. You'll be dead and you will be happy, D Truth said. Yeah. You'll own nothing and you'll be in heaven. They don't have more than one HAARP. I think they meant Occam's razor. Did you mean more than one HAARP? Well, multiple countries have it. And I think there's more than one, but I could be wrong. Oh, and then you guys didn't even see it. Here we go. That's what I've been looking at. These are huge, by the way. I don't know if those boxes down on the ground, you can't really get a scale for size, but I think those are buildings, but maybe not.
And that picture's from their brochure, from their website for the age, and but at the same time, that's pretty old. I mean, it's been around for a long time, so it's old tech. So we just wonder what new tech would look like. Jesse
Ventura did a show on it like 15 years ago that actually, made it on Discovery Channel or whatever channel that was. So interesting stuff, and he actually did a pretty good job of putting together the possibilities of what it could do. Vlad's empire starts to crumble. Dex, do you want to cover this? I know we're running short on time, and we still have another caller coming in.
Well, yet another person is speaking in a position of some sort of authority, but in this case, they're talking about frequency of things like ambulances and other stuff that's starting to sort of portray this notion that everything is just looking bad for Vlad. And this sort of goes on from that narrative that we just continue to be hammered with, that everything is bad, it's not working. He's, backed into a corner, and he's either going to fight his way out or, and he's not going to buckle because that's just not his style. So it, just depends on which mode there is, because, the people that are upset, at least what they're telling us is significant as far as people trying to leave, the country. We've heard numerous pundits, we've heard numerous, authority figures talk about, how there is some sort of discourse even in the leadership levels over there with what he's doing, especially the oligarchies, which have lost tons and tons of money, even though Vlad may not have, or the country may not have, at least from their ruble point of view or from their oil trade and gas trade. But they've certainly their upper echelons has been hurting and lost their yachts. They lost lots of things. They've lost all their money. It's been frozen. They have no access to it. So at some point they've got to push hard against him and say, like, look, what are you doing to us? And because we're not going to put up with this. So, and when I think about that, I tend to think about, the elite that are so much above the government. These are people you don't really hear much about, or if you do, you just know them as these rich people that own everything, right? So there's plenty of them from Vlad's country. There's plenty of those oligarchs over there that were sort of running the show, so to speak, at least from a financial point of view. So you take all of this message that comes to us from, mostly Western MSM saying that it's all bad, it's all bad, it's all bad. And that's part of this continuation of that messaging.
And that's why I said, like, why are they pushing it so hard that he is backed into a corner, that he's going to do this? If something does happen, if, say, just a mystery country launched a tactical nuke at the middle of UKR and 100,000 civilians perished, or even 10,000 or 1,000, that will get us into a conflict. And what if it wasn't Vlad that did it? I know that they say that they'll be able to track where it came from. Well, what if somebody snuck something in their country and launched it from there? Or what if they actually launch one and it ends up getting us involved in a WW3 scenario? People say that WW3, they act like it's going to be the end of the world. They will do a conflict and make money out of it and restructure our whole world. WW3 could possibly be used to break down the current structure and then reset it along with digital currency. Everything else will be put back in, and it will all be for our own safety and to rebuild. The fact that the slogan for President Biden is "Build Back Better," that just freaks me out. People don't see like the symbology in half of this stuff. I personally can't not look at it, and I'm like, what the hell is actually happening here? Bunny Hall, the Trail Group, thank you, everybody. Thank you, guys. Just be honest with you guys, I had like 3.5 hours. All of our kids got sick. I'm hoping, since everybody else got sick and I've missed it until now, that I don't. The last time, about 3 weeks ago, when we all got sick and everybody got sick, it happened one person at a time. Dex, do you remember how it was like, it was like one kid, then the other, and it was every single day somebody else.
It's so much easier when you can just get it all over with at once instead of dragging it on for a week and a half.
If you're all just sick and nasty, but when there's always somebody sick and snotty and everything else, it's just, it sucks. Especially when it's when our 2 or 3 year old, they can't blow their nose. When you have a kid that can't blow their nose, it's so gross. They're just constantly sucking it back up. Oh God, that sound is gonna be burnt into my head. Terrabile, that ship mess thingy is making me feel so beyond horrified. Says I want to. So let me say now, I love you, Adam, Dex, Mods, and all Mafia friends. Terrabile 3, Terrabile, the ship, as far as that thing goes, I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's a good thing. JJ, the platform is multi-spectrum energy platform. Oh, JJ has an answer, or at least a shot at it. The platform is a multi-spectrum energy weapon. This platform has different weapons capabilities that give commanders defense against the so-called UFOs. It's a weather weapon as well, your friendly deep state whistleblower 33. But this is G's platform, it's not ours. So are you saying that this is their thing, or have you seen one that we have that's like this? So again, that's G's platform, not ours. And then B-Roll Beast says it will be my it will be my 4th, don't know the gender yet. B-Roll Beast, I don't know if you're somebody who doesn't find out until they're born, but it is much funner that way. We did that once out of 4 times, and it was actually really, really fun. All right, and there was an accidental learning of the child's gender, but it was still fun. All right, and then and that was actually the whatever they call that, the nurse that does the ultrasound. They accidentally flubbed up and said something, but all right, and then satellite imagery shows traffic jams at the Vladian borders after Vlad's mobilization order. So there's actual images showing by Maxar Technology showing a long line of vehicles along Vlad's A301. Now, we're going to be pulling in our last caller after this story. And again, real quick, I just want to remind you, if you haven't already, if you don't have long-term food, make sure to go check out marfooglenews.com/prep. They have exactly what you need to survive any kind of event, whether it be a 72-hour kit for 3 days that you can throw in your bag of MREs, or if you want to get a 1-month kit, there again is sales on all sorts of stuff, and there's 20% off, a huge chunk off of the 3-month supply. That has 3 meals, everything you need for 90 days to keep yourself alive and happy and healthy. Again, those 3-month kits can be broken down. If you have 2 people, then that's 45 days for 2 people. Or again, you can split it in thirds. If 3 people, you got 30 days each. So it's pretty sweet. Make sure to go over and check it out. If you have a family, maybe a couple of them might cover you guys at least for a month or 2 months. So make sure to go check that out. It is 20% off right now, a huge discount. And there's also all sorts of other things there, from medical and survival books and everything else. When you do that, you're essentially making up. We cover news. If you type in any news subject, I 100% guarantee you're going to find about 50 pages of CNN and Fox before you find any one of our videos. So we are working against an uphill battle. Plus, almost everything is every subject we talk about. Even if we use filter words, it is not a monetizable thing, or it's not suitable for all advertisers. The dreaded yellow. So we appreciate your guys' support. We do have families ourselves. You guys supporting these affiliates helps us survive. So we appreciate your support. And again, it's not required, but it is appreciated. And then, Dex, let's get our next caller in, and I'll pop over and make sure. I know we were having errors. Plus, a lot of you guys don't see what's going on behind the scenes. Daniel, first time caller. We were having all sorts of issues with electronics here. Found us from
Daniel is live.
Off-grid desert farming. Perilous times are coming. Repent and get right, from Middle America. Let's hear, Daniel, you're live, and you found us through Paul and Adrian. Is that right?
Yeah, am I on? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. What's going on, Daniel?
Hello? Oh, shout out to Off-Grid Desert Farming on YouTube. Shout out to Jonathan Kleck on BitChute. Just calling in, first time caller, bud.
Well, Paul and Adrian, by the way, so Paul gets the same stuff we do. I think anybody that watches Paul for any amount of time knows that he believes what he's saying. He's not just saying stuff to scare people. I think he believes what he sees all of the different connections. His brain works a lot like mine. We truly believe something is happening here, and it's kind of hard to ignore. I think it's because now people don't want to believe any of the news, but some of the news is correct. And people say, oh, well, why do you cover mainstream news? Well, because if you look at all of the past events, mainstream news did predict a lot of it, but it was all, the thing that's shady is the motivation or the things behind it. Who is doing it? Why was it pushed out? Why did it happen? Most of the events, there's usually articles and drills and exercises before the real event happens. So that's why you have to follow it. So I respect Paul, and I don't know much of it. I haven't seen his wife too much. I don't know if she even does she show up in his videos, Daniel?
Sometimes.
I don't think I've ever seen her, but I've watched a good amount of his show, enough to know that they are obviously they're working hard at their channel. So that's why we put them on the friends list, and they're actually on that page. So what do you think is coming? You say perilous times. What do you mean by that?
This is just going out to like the lost sheep of Israel, the chosen ones, the elect from before the foundation of the world. Going to try to just sow some seed wherever it lands. I don't know. Some of it's going to land on good soil, and some of it's going to land on dirt. That's not up to me, but someone's got to say it. So this is just my opinion, but I feel like we are provoking a conflict with the bear, and I feel like things will happen, not only over there, but over here. There's only so much we can do. There's only so much sin that this nation can do before God judges this nation. And I feel that a lot of people, especially here where I'm from in Middle America, are full of pride, and that this is America. Nothing can touch us. We're protected by the Pacific and the Atlantic. And I got news for you. God is going to touch us, and he's going to touch us severely. So I pray that you get right with Jesus Christ. If you're walking in sin, if you're backsliding, if you turned your back on the Lord, it's time to get back. It's time to put the sin out of your life. I'm talking to you, Marfoogle. I'm talking to Dax. I'm talking to me. I'm talking to anybody that's listening. If you're watching pornography, if you're masturbating, if you're cheating on your wife, if you're cheating on your husband, if you're a thief and you're stealing, if you're lying, if you can't forgive your brother or your sister, if you have hatred in your heart, turn those things down. Get that stuff out of your life, because Jesus said, go and sin no more, and God is not a liar. So if he says, go and sin no more, then go and sin no more, because we know that no sinner enters into the kingdom of God. So we need to put these things away. We need to turn our whole heart, with a broken heart, a broken spirit, back to the Father, back to Jesus Christ, because things are coming that men's hearts are going to fail them for fear. I don't think anybody's ready to see what's coming down. And what after the conflict, I think that, it's my opinion, we're going to get a central bank digital currency. I don't know what you're going to have to do. I don't know what the MARK is that's spoken of in the book of Revelation, but when it comes, we know what it's going to, we know that it, we know what it's going to be when it's here. And I pray that you don't take it and you strive until the very end, and you love not your life unto the death. He that perseveres unto the end is going to make it into the kingdom of heaven. If you love your father, your wife, your brother, your sister, son, or daughter more than Jesus Christ, you're not worthy to enter into the kingdom. So we got to put these things away. We have to put these things away. We have to wholeheartedly repent with a heart of grief and sorrow and remorse, and turn back to Jesus Christ and to God the Father. And we need to ask for forgiveness, and we need to walk in obedience, not saying, oh, we can just keep sinning. We need to walk in obedience. We need to stop sinning. We need to put it behind us. We need to walk in the newness of life. If you have been given the gift of the Holy Spirit, we have to do this. We have to, or else we have to endure. And God is going to make sure that his chosen people are going to endure. So, and I don't want to preach hellfire and brimstone. There's hope, and there's great hope in Jesus Christ, and he will not leave you abandoned if you turn back to him. That's my message to me, to you, to Dax, to anyone that's listening. Turn your whole heart back to Jesus Christ. I was just in Bible study tonight at a church that I kind of have to go to because I'm receiving counseling. And the requirement is I have to go to church. And I spoke some of these things to the people there, and they don't want to hear it. They just want to go about their lives, and they say, oh, God's in control. Well, when your kid's starving, when you're starving, when your wife is starving, are you going to say God is in control, or are you going to freak out and lose faith and turn your back on Jesus Christ? They don't want to hear it because they're full of pride, and because this nation is full of pride. They can't fathom what's going to happen to not only us, but to all countries around the world. There's going to be an economic collapse globally. It's going to totally ruin everything. People are going to be losing their minds. Put no faith in any leader. Put no faith in any man, whether it be the key man or the current man or the previous man. Put no faith in any man, because he's not going to save you. There's no one that's going to save this nation. This nation is done.
Daniel,
Jesus Christ
I got to
and
interrupt
God
you.
will
I got to interrupt you.
touch this
Hey.
nation.
Our show
Hey
is
Daniel, I don't mean to cut you off. This is Dax. I'm sorry, but we're at a 2-hour time limit. We're going to keep going, but I just want everybody on the main channel to know that we're flipping over to Marfoogle Jams.
So the show will go right from here right into Marfoogle Jams. We cut the show on YouTube at 2 hours exactly. It will go right into that. So again, that's because it doesn't process. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's okay, man. Put no faith in any man. This country, it's done. You know, our sins are they're reaching heaven. The cup of sin is gonna overflow one day. I don't know when, and God is going to touch this land. He has to. We've done far too much. There's no repentance. If you're in a church, any of you, me, Marfoogle, Dax, anybody that's listening, if you're in a church and the hireling, the CEO, if he's not saying anything that me, Dax, or Marfoogle is saying, if they celebrate Christmas and Easter, just get out of there. Just get out of there. If all he tells you is sweet by and bys and little Jesus stories and bedtime stories, just get out of there, because they don't want to hear it. Their ears are shut. They can't see. They're blind. They don't want to know. They just want to go about their lives. You're better off on your knees reading the Bible on your own.
Well, I mean, I agree with you on that. You know, as far as some people can get there through different ways. Some people should just pick up a Bible and read it themselves instead of take other people's judgments or other people's opinion. Right now on social media, especially on TikTok, and it's really prevalent on TikTok, there's all these people, and all of a sudden it's all over trends where these people are saying, oh, I stepped away from organized religion, or I walked away from organized religion and the Christian church. One woman in particular said that she was a worship leader for 10 years and her husband was the pastor of a big church. And I'm thinking but they're no longer together. They're divorced. It sounds like she had a bad relationship with him. And now she's like going off on this, tangent of putting down everything about it. It sounds like he was a bad guy. But a church isn't a small group of people. Like, she's like talking about general churches all over the place. You can't take one experience and then say all of them are like this, or say that it's all the same. It's not. I guess I just see a lot of this out of nowhere. Not to mention almost everything that is happening in the culture right now is, it's totally reversed. Over just the last couple of years, it's like they're pushing the craziest agendas super, super far. And nobody can ask a question about it. You can't even ask a question. You can't even have your own belief. If you have a Christian belief, then it's the wrong belief. Or, Christian was the largest religion. And it was the majority. And now it's like this thing. Like if it is the majority, then it's evil. When really the real evil is above us. It's these elites. It's these crazy people above us. It's not the churches that are the evil. It's people. It's actual people. And usually anything that's evil in the church is usually because of money. Like I said, the one pastor guy that flies on private jets and has, $5 million watches. I don't think a man of God, even if they are rich, they could live well, but they don't have to buy a $5 million watch. That you would think that, I don't think God would approve of that. Personally, but either way, again, I don't know what's going on, but I think there's a lot of evil out there, and even if you're not Christian, I would be surprised if you don't see all of the evil that is all around us.
Many people don't, and I mean, obviously, if the pastor's got a $5 million watch and jets, you know, he's a sucker, and anyone that listens to him needs to get out of there. But it's not about what I don't have a problem with what they say. I have a problem with what they don't say. If they don't tell you current events, if they don't tell you the things that are to come, then why are you giving him 10% of your hard-earned money? He deserves nothing.
You mean like if churches don't talk about what is actually happening in the world right now?
Yeah, because he's supposed to be a shepherd of the flock of sheep, and sheep are stupid. I'm stupid. I've been stupid
We're all
my whole
stupid.
life. But if he's not warning the sheep of the wolf that's coming, what's he doing? Why give him your money to tell you sweet Sunday school lessons? I don't need him for that.
Yeah, and I wonder why, most of these new age huge churches won't even touch the fact, they won't touch anything slightly, against the current culture. They won't touch woke culture. They won't touch any subject around it because they're afraid of being attacked. Right now, even more reason, they could have their 501c attacked. There were churches that went against woke things. The U.S. government went after their 501cs. Like, it's most definitely, it seems to me like it's, if there was some sort of supremacy, that they're trying to take that away and make it the opposite, to where you should fear being a Christian or fear, believing in Jesus Christ. I don't know. It seems like it's pretty obviously the opposite side that's ruling right now, but it's only temporary. Well, thank you for calling in, Daniel, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate the time, and get on your knees and repent and believe on Jesus Christ. Turn your heart back to him wholly and forget and leave behind all your sin.
Amen, Daniel. Again, Daniel, thank you for calling in. That was Daniel from Middle America, and we didn't really miss anything. The ex-CIA completely cornered. Putin is completely cornered, and the chances of him using tactical nuclear weapons in UKR are increasing by the day. They're pushing this hard, and this is coming from ex-CIA. So should you believe it? I don't know. More so, I think I would say question, how is this tactical nuke going to blow up? Is it going to be a mystery missile that we don't know where it actually comes from? It is, after it happens, is Vlad's country going to go, no, we didn't do that. The USA did it. And then we're going to get in this back and forth of who really did it, or they'll just assume that he's covering it up or something, and then get into a WW3 scenario. Thank you, Zippy Moons. I've had one heck of a time. iOS hacked, corrupted was Apple's phrase. 2 weeks to fix. Prayers to Florida. Oh, yeah, because we just talked about it yesterday. Dex actually just sent me an article, says that most Samsung users are now switching to Apple because they believe it's safer. Both are hackable, obviously. But yeah, Jacktronics, thank you. Vicky K, DevCon, Kelly2334, Canadian, Kelly2334, Scooby-Doo Right, Michelle K. I appreciate you. Let's see here. Tesla 474, thank you. Appreciate that. And thank you to everybody else that popped in tonight. Dex, thank you for your service tonight. Do you want to go over the web only?
Absolutely. So head over to marfooglenews.com and click on the thumbnail for the show and scroll down to that overflow section. It's right past all the news we covered, right past the ILEA video, the fun survival game video. You'll get right past Cars for Heroes if you're looking for them. They're there. Then you'll get to the overflow, and right below that is all of our caller information. So if you want to see what they had to share and say, it's there as well. But in the overflow section, it's the rest of the story, all the other articles we couldn't get to. Obviously, we had even tonight we had too much. We couldn't get to it all. We ran out, and that's why we're over here on Jams. Those of you on DLive, you guys are fine. Lots going on. Definitely some updates going in the circus of the political arena. Updates from the event in January with involving Secret Service, some deep fake stories that are now coming out that are being claimed. Plenty to get caught up on there. Apparently, some of the big box stores like Home Depot and Best Buy are starting to lock up more goods. So if you want to know more about that, obviously to fight off theft, that's there. More protests at airports, inflation updates, the pound, that is the UK's money, the UK pound, and what's happening there. It's kind of scary for them. And probably a sign of the times to come. Bernie's in the news and lots of more. So head over to marfooglenews.com and click on the thumbnail for the show and get the rest of the story.
Thank you, Dex, and I appreciate all of you guys. Make sure to have a wonderful night. Thank you to the chat. It looks like lots of great people popped in tonight. Thank you, Tara Belay, JJ, Be Real Beast, Hail to the King. Thank you, Linda C., Latrell Group LLC. Thank you for your support. And, of course, Be Real. Again, thank you. Kenny Crowder, That Gen X Dude, Christine Ruiz, Vic, Zowls Okone, Alex Hawkins, Mir 504, B&B, Nana of Montana, Texas Rob 49, and Josh P. Thank you, everybody. And chat, make sure to leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what you guys think. I'd love to hear about that barge. If you have another theory that actually adds to, who was that? That was JJ. Do you know if that platform about multi-spectrum energy weapons? Let me know. All right. Thank you, Dex. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
Have a good night, guys. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It's now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's shoutro.
I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams. Looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams. Marfoogle News, where are you? Only news I use. Marfoogle News roams. Looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo.